So, like, hi everyone. So, we're very happy to welcome. I hope I'm not gonna butcher your name, Adriana Rabe.
Yes, that's me.
Okay. Okay.
So Adriana is a fellow polyglot, and we're really excited to be talking about a rare language today, the language of Madagascar, Malagasy.
Mhm.
And Adriana made a very beautiful presentation, which you can now see on the screen. So you can just start presenting if you would like.
Yes, I think the first slide actually is mainly the schedule of today. So I think it will be nice to start with a small presentation of all of us, and then we can have a small Q&A to talk about which languages we all talk and what is our small story with languages. Then I would like to do a small presentation of Madagascar's culture, like food, small explanation of languages, and some traditions maybe that are shared in this country. And then important topic, a small introduction to the language, what is Malagasy language in general. And at the end, I would like to give you an example of a song and try to translate it also to explain what is the meaning of this song.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Okay, so first
So-
slide is who is who. Maybe you can start presenting yourself or...
Sure.
Sure.
You want to start?
Yeah, of course. Well, obviously, Alex again. So, I'm native French speaker. I actually learned English fairly early on, and I'm more or less capable of communicating in Bulgarian, and
Oh.
I have some notions in Spanish and German. That's about it, really.
What
That's
interests
great.
you about languages?
Yeah. Well, in terms of languages, to be honest, at first I just picked English because I thought, like, well, that's the language that really absolutely everybody uses, so like we'll just go with that. But progressively, I actually discovered the language. Some of my favorite authors, native native speakers, like Edgar Allan Poe. And I also find it extremely interesting. Like, let's say someone like Salman Rushdie, who was kind of using English as a means to kind of communicate his own culture. He managed to kind of reclaim English for himself, and I find that's super interesting. And maybe everybody can try to do the same with, with his culture, and in order to really convey its own kind of his own culture. So I guess I'm going for that. But yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so me and languages. Well, Bulgarian is my native language, South Slavic language. And a bit like Alex, I also started learning English when I was very little. And I went to an international school in high school where English was the language of instruction. Then we've both lived in England for 5 years. And French, of course, I learned it with him. And being in France right now and on and off for quite a few years now. Spanish actually helped me a lot with learning French because I started learning Spanish in high school, but my level is lower than my level of French, yet I really like this language. It's very special for me because I started learning it pretty early on. Russian, I didn't learn it at school, even though many of my classmates were. I actually discovered it much later in France, kind of thinking if French people are interested in this Slavic language, then it would make sense that I learn more about it too. And it was a bit easier for me compared to my classmates because of all the vocabulary that's shared with Bulgarian, even though the grammar is really quite different. Like, we don't have cases, most importantly. Also, at Italian, a little bit alongside with Spanish, which I don't know if it was a wise choice because I have interference between the two quite a lot. And yeah, maybe that's it more or less. What about you, Adriana?
For me, so I was born in Madagascar, but my family moved in France when I was very young. So the very first language that I was familiar to was French. I grew up with French, and at home, my mom mainly speaks Malagasy. So I kind of grew up like a passive bilingual, learning to recognize the sound of Malagasy and recognizing some words, but it was more complicated for me to read or to speak the language to answer anything in Malagasy. Like you too, also, I learned English at school. I learned Spanish at school. And when I went to the university, I had to choose a third language. And I decided to learn Portuguese. And then I had the opportunity to study in Brazil and then in Poland, where I learned a little bit of Polish language, the Polish language too. And now, since last year, I started to learn a little bit of Russian, but like very basic conversational language for Russian, and also a little bit of Korean language.
Ah, great.
Yes, I didn't mention Japanese as well. Now it's kind of my passion, discovering Japanese.
Japanese.
Yes.
How is it going with Japanese? I mean, it's very different from Russian or any Latin-related language.
Yes, it's fascinating just seeing how it works, like the wave and the, there are 3 alphabets, and one of them is based on the whole words, the hieroglyphics, and just to see how they come together, like to make a new meaning. It's a really new experience, really interesting. For example, like to be curious comes from the hieroglyphics of like strange things or something like that. Yeah. Very fun to discover the logic behind it. Okay, so shall we try some multilingual questions?
Yes, we can try. I will see if I remember some Russian, because I didn't study the last month. So
Same, yeah. Mine is a bit rusty too. Можешь представиться, откуда ты и чем ты занимаешься и какие языки говоришь?
Okay, I will try. So, я Adriana, я французенка, учу язык русский. Я не говорю по-русски, я только учу. I don't know. Я говорю по-английски, испанский, французский и португальский. Was it good?
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
Хорошо.
Спасибо.
Well done. Yeah, actually, I'm curious about like, and I'm also a bit, let's say, like involved. Like you grew up in France, but you basically at home you would speak Malagasy. Like,
yes.
In case someone's interested, like in French, like it's quite different. Like you say Malagasy in English, and it's Malgache in French.
Malgache in French.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Do you actually manage to keep up, like, let's say, like to keep this sort of like the language alive? Because in my case, I know that my father was never really clear on what he spoke. In my humble opinion, was some sort of a mixture of German, Russian, and like probably some words from other places. Like, so it was some sort of mixture, but it never really taught me anything. So I just would hear words here and there. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. Like in your case, you managed to actually keep the language. I'm really appreciate. Like I can really appreciate that. So could you actually talk to us a bit more about
and
this?
We want to do this with our son as well, because we're talking to him in 3 languages, but then we're in a particular place. Like right now we're in France, school is in French and everything. Yet we try to, like, I try to read to him a lot in Bulgarian. So yeah, it's kind of challenging. So we're curious about your relationship with the Malagasy language, how confident you are in it.
Yes, it's very challenging because it's a language that I only hear at home. So basically, I know vocabularies that we use in daily life, like the food, like if my mom asked me to do a task, or I don't know, talking about small things like sharing opinions or very small things. So it's when you grow up with the language, it's easy to understand, to recognize some words because your parents will repeat it every day. So you will get used to it. And usually for me, the thing is that I automatically answer in French because it's the first language that came to my mind when I want to answer something. So I think for children, one good thing will be to use both languages at home and to make sure that they don't lose this contact with talking, because this was really my problem, I think, because I didn't thought about using Malagasy at home to talk with my mother. And now that I'm trying to reconnect with my language, this is where the difficulty is, because I can understand basic talking, but to understand more complex topic, it's really difficult for me because I was used to only listen to basic things. So that's why it's now very difficult. And also with Malagasy, the thing is, with writing system, it's very different from conversational level of the language. So it's very difficult to understand the writing also for me.
I see. Well, thank you for that. Thanks.
Un poco de español. ¿Puedes darnos un poco de información básica sobre Madagascar? Como dónde está situado, cuánto es la población y tú cuánto tiempo has pasado ahí.
Ok, voy a intentar hablar en español. Es un idioma que no utilizo mucho en el día a día, entonces no sé si voy a poder hablar bien. Pues Madagascar es un país en África. Es cerca de, pues es un poco en África y un poco con cultura asiática también, porque es un país que está un poco alejado del continente africano y es un país que se llama país continente porque es muy grande. No lembro cuándo es la superficie del país, pero es muy, muy grande y es una isla que está con población, no sé cuántas personas tiene. Lo siento. ¿Qué más puedo decir?
¿Y tú has pasado mucho tiempo ahí?
No, porque yo pienso que tenía 3 años cuando llegué aquí en Francia, entonces no lembro mucho del país, pero a veces nos fuimos de vacaciones en Madagascar 3 veces y es gracias a las vacaciones puedo entender más la cultura.
Sí. Excelente. Do you want to ask something?
Oh, yeah, sure. Bon, c'est parti. Bon, en fait, la question que j'avais, bon, d'après ce que j'ai compris, donc ça vous arrive de vous rendre à Madagascar pendant les vacances. Oui. Et c'était, on va dire que pour quelqu'un qui ne connaît pas forcément Madagascar, vraiment la première chose qu'on apprend sur l'île, c'est vraiment la faune et la flore qui sont vraiment exceptionnelles. Okay. Notamment, il y avait une photo et un dessin de lémuriens qui était affairé. Donc, c'est effectivement, c'est toujours très, très intéressant d'en parler si justement il y a des anecdotes qu'on ne connaît pas forcément, une personne qui ne connaît pas forcément Madagascar pourrait en plus. Mettons, par exemple, est-ce qu'il y a une explication à ça, du fait que la faune et la flore soient aussi différentes de l'Afrique continentale et on va dire des îles alentours?
Alors, je pense que c'est dû justement au fait que Madagascar soit une île qui a été composée avec une partie de l'Australie et une partie de l'Afrique. Du coup, on retrouve une mixité, je pense, entre les espèces qui existent à peu près en Afrique, plus les espèces qui existent Océanie, Asie. Et un mix de tout ça, ça a créé une biodiversité qui est assez riche et qui est introuvable ailleurs. Notamment, comme vous avez très bien dit, les lémuriens. Il y a beaucoup de petits animaux qu'on trouve que dans la forêt malgache, comme les aya, je crois, c'est des tout petits lémuriens avec de très gros yeux.
Oui.
C'est une particularité de l'île. Ensuite, bien évidemment, il y a les baobabs que l'on trouve beaucoup dans le sud. Le sud, c'est très, très sec, alors qu'un peu plus dans le nord, nous avons des plages, nous avons plus de végétation. Oui, peut-être je vais raconter une anecdote qui m'est arrivée. Enfin, on était partis en voyage en voiture, parce que c'est un des moyens de transport qui est très utilisé là-bas. Donc, nous sommes partis de chez nous en voiture et on devait regagner le nord. Et comme la route, elle est très, très mal desservie, le voyage prend très, très longtemps. Je crois qu'on avait mis à peu près 3-4 jours pour faire la traversée, alors que c'est rapide normalement. Et du coup, pendant le voyage, nous avons traversé beaucoup de forêts, avec beaucoup d'arbres fruitiers, des animaux qui se baladaient dans la rue, puisque justement, c'est vraiment un lieu qui n'était pas beaucoup... n'avait pas beaucoup été touché par la population humaine.
Ça doit être très intéressant, ça. Pour le coup, des petites routes mal desservies avec la Bulgarie, on connaît bien. Mais...
Oui, on connaît, mais il n'y a pas la végétation impressionnante.
C'est vrai. C'est vrai. Ah, c'est un pays de montagne, c'est joli aussi. Mais oui, c'est très intéressant. Et donc, on trouverait plutôt la végétation dans le nord du pays et le sud est plus sec. Ce serait plutôt ça, la géographie.
Alors, je n'ai pas tout visité, mais de ce que j'ai vu, oui, le sud, c'est beaucoup plus sec. Et nous, on est originaire du nord-est. Et il y a beaucoup de végétation. Et bien sûr, il y a les plages aussi qu'il faut visiter à Madagascar qui sont très, très belles.
Ah, super. Super, merci, hein, c'est parfait.
Je voulais demander sur les plats, la nourriture, mais je pense qu'on va avoir l'opportunité plus tard. Donc, moi, j'ai plus de questions.
T'as plus de questions. Moi non plus, donc très bien. Ok, c'est parfait.
If you would like to go on with what you have prepared.
So the next slide. Yes, so talking more about the culture. So as I mentioned before, Malagasy is a language that originally comes from Malayo-Polynesian origin. But the thing is, Malagasy is the first language, but due to the past history with France, there is a lot of French words that are now used in Malagasy, and it has become also an official language for the country. And actually doing some research about the country, I realized that there are a lot of words also taken from the Arabic language that I didn't know about. So it's very composed of languages from several parts of the planet. What else can I say about the language? Yes, there are several dialects. So where I come from, the dialect is called Sakalav, but actually the main language, Malagasy, really comes from the capital, Antananarivo. So people usually use the Malagasy from the capital, but if you go, for example, in the north or in the east, they will use some dialect. So sometimes they will use different sentences or different words to explain you something, but I think you won't have trouble to understand what they mean. So you wanted to talk about cuisine and the food there. As an African country, it's true that rice is one of the main dish there. So they will eat rice for the 3 meals, for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. So this is something that can be difficult for European because we don't eat that much amount of rice, especially at breakfast.
Yes, very hard to imagine. Yes, I've heard that about Japan too, and it seems so strange.
Yeah.
And also there is a drink that is made with the burnt part of the rice that is called ranapang. If you want to try it, it's very nice. It doesn't have a strong taste. So it's like, it's a kind of tea, I think, for us. If you go to Madagascar also, you will find a lot of street foods. So for example, you will find I don't know how to say brochette in English.
Shish.
How would that be?
It will come back. It's said it not long ago.
And other ones with cheese would just be called like cheesy sticks.
Yeah, but it's not sticks. Like scurvy. No, it's not. Well, I'd rather not say anything silly, but yeah.
Okay.
I used to know it, but yeah, brochette.
You will have a lot of small, I would say, sweet snacks that are like huge pancakes that are called mukar. You will find also food that are in bananas leaf. I forgot the name of this food, but it's also like a kind of pancake also, but it's brownish.
Okay.
Yes, a lot of different street food available in the country. And also one typical product there is the beer that is called Free Horse beer. I don't know why it's in English, but the brand is in English, but actually it's a brand from Madagascar with French connection.
Okay.
Like,
is it possible to find it in France?
Yes, you can find it in France. There are a lot of African stores where they sell it. And I think there are some Malagasy website online where you can order it also.
Okay.
I never tried it, so I cannot give you any my opinion on it.
We're not really.
Yeah, we're not into beer.
Into beer,
I'm just curious though.
Yeah.
But there is also a sweet drink that is a kind of lemonade, like Diabolo thing, that is called bonbon anglais, which is very good actually. If you want to try soft drinks. So
pleasure.
So I think one very particular thing about Madagascar also is handcraft, because in the country you will find several objects that are made by the population. For instance, you will find different clothing with some drawings. You will also find instruments made with wood or with raffia. So I took some objects that I have here at home. So this one, I don't know if you can.
What material is it made of?
It's made of palm tree. So raffia.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so you can see it here.
Yeah.
And I have another one here.
Cool. That is again the
Lovely.
lemur in English, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's lemur in English.
Yeah, it must be.
And then you have this kind of boxes that are made with wood.
Yeah.
Cool.
Beautiful.
And yeah, I also have things like that that are usually made with recycling materials. Yeah. And this also, which is used to clean rice. I don't know how to explain it in English, but you put rice inside and then you just
you put some more. Yeah, you put some water in it, or it's just like to clean, I think.
Just rice, and you are doing things like that to
remove some small bits.
Rice and the dust.
I see.
Things like that.
Wow.
Cool.
Yes. And yeah, I also had this kind of stuff made with wood also.
Yeah. The statue.
And a lot of arts like that.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, you will find a lot of handcraft materials there, and it's very cheap for us European. So generally when someone travels there, they will buy a lot of some souvenir for their relatives.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also one particular tradition that I had to experience there was the funerary tradition. So basically when someone dies, will die, a few years later, the family will decide to have another funeral to create, to have the how to explain that. It's like a respect tradition to propose, to offer a new funeral to the relative, because when you are down in the ground, the body gets really dirty. So they will offer like a new clothes for the for their ancestors. So they will create like a new funeral, gathering all members of the family and celebrating for several days. So this is one typical tradition that there is in Madagascar.
It's interesting. I think it might be also another influence from Asia, because I know in some, if I'm not mistaken, in it's not just Tibet, but like in different Asian countries, it's they also practice some similar rites. So with
Seriously?
actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure in Tibet, and there must be not in Tibet actually, but basically in some specific areas in Asia, they definitely do something similar. So that's interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Something to look into.
So yes, they kept this Asian part in their culture. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to explain about the culture. Of course, there are so many things to say, but these 4 things were interesting to mention.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe we can start doing some presentation about the language.
Sure,
Yeah,
let's do
sure.
that.
Definitely.
So, okay. So regarding the alphabet, what is important to remember is that it's very close to the Latin alphabet. So if you speak French, it will be easy. There are just a few letters that are not that do not exist in the language. And here you can see that it's C, Q, U, W, and X. And also for the pronunciation, it's very close to the French pronunciation. For example, if you use any letter, it will be close to the French pronunciation. But there are some letters that have different sounds. For example, for the E, it will be like the Spanish E. For example, also the O will be pronounced U. And maybe one difficulty in the language is that, like in Russian, there are a lot of softened letters. So, for example, at the end of the word, the vowels generally are not pronounced. Like they are softened a little bit, so we don't pronounce it like we would pronounce it in French. So I will give you an example. Can you read the text here?
Yeah.
In French. In French. I mean in English.
Prano.
That's what we would say. But actually it's pronounced Chan.
Oh.
But it's like, yeah, the R and the last O is softened. So you don't pronounce the R and the O.
Wow.
It's
cool.
Chan.
Tan. Okay. Tan.
And the same for this word. Can you try pronouncing it? Oh, I can.
Aho.
Okay.
As written like that, it looks like, yes, it's pronouncing like that, but no, it's za. So like the first letters are not pronounced. Oh, sorry. The first letters are not pronounced, so you just pronounce zaha, and here you will pronounce just the A, because H and O will be softened. So that's why
is it under the influence of like the French rules that the H is not pronounced, or is it again based on the fact that some sounds get diminished in particular positions?
No, the H most of the time is diminished. And yes, and vowels at the end of the words are not pronounced either. So here you just pronounce the A.
Wow.
So that's why writing Malagasy is very difficult, because most of the letter will not be pronounced.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can't base yourself on the spoken language to write a word.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what makes the language very difficult. Okay, so here we have a few common phrases or words that I wanted to share with you. Maybe I will start with the words that are taken from French. So here, for example, for doctor, we will say docteur.
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 Like without the A, right?
Yes, soften the A. Same for matches in English would be zalimit.
Okay, I do met. Yeah. Yeah.
And the same with tea, it will be dite.
Ah oui. Bah,
du thé.
du thé.
Wow.
Ouais.
Oh, yes. There are a lot of words taken from French that are introduced in the language and just transformed a little bit to sound Malagasy. For greetings, here you have three examples, but actually depending on the place where you are, the greeting will be a little bit different. So I choose 3 of them. So usually where I come from, they will say Mbolatsar. Okay. So you're the third one.
Yeah.
And in the capital, they would say Manaon. The first one. Manaon,
Okay.
yes. And they will also use Salama Tubku. And Tubku means sir, madam. So this one, I think this one is taken from the Arabic language.
Yes.
Yeah,
Salam,
like salam.
right?
Yeah.
Next word will be for goodbye. For goodbye, we usually say veluma. The next word are yes and no. For yes and no, at home, I would just say aha for no and ye or ya for yes. But formally, it is any for yes and tia for no.
Wow. So interesting when there are different words for yes and no. In Japanese also there are several couples.
Yeah.
For thank you, it's misocha. And for excuse me, it's azafaj.
Yeah.
So these words
It's
are
not pronounced. Yeah.
azafaj. Okay, so let's start with a few phrases. This one, how is it going? How is it going, or are you doing well? It's the same, depending on the region or the part of the country you will be. You will use different phrases to ask this question. For me, for example, I would normally use karakor, or if I say it with more intonation, it would be karakore, like, hey, how are you? How have you been? And yeah, this is something I didn't mention, but in Malagasy, or mainly in songs, they will have this small hey or ha at the end of the sentence to like create some accent in the sentence and to, I don't know how to explain, like it doesn't change the meaning, but it changed like some intonation into the sentence.
Okay.
So you will see it in the song, like, that I will show you later. That's why I'm explaining now. What else? This one, there is not. There is 2 ways to say it, because the first one is timis, that means there is not literally, or tis, that is like a contraction of both words. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
Like you have timis is like the full sentence, but cis is like a contraction of both words. If you put both words together, so it literally means the same thing. You can use both to say that something is not here. Like,
Is it like colloquial, like the same difference between je ne sais pas et je sais pas? Oh.
I don't think so, because I can use both in formal day. So I don't think it's related to je ne sais pas and sais pas in French.
Yeah, not necessarily related, but like this same notion of like you have one was like sort of rude and the other one is like more kind of less colloquial, sort of like something that you would say to your boss or something like that.
I never taught Malagasy to a boss, so I'm not sure if he will accept me to use cis. I mean, with my mom, I use it. I can use it, but I'm not sure if we can use it with someone higher. But the main one, which is from the official, from the capital, is timis.
Okay.
I see.
So here, so in Malagasy, the Malagasy language is gas, tin gas.
Okay.
So if you say that you don't speak Malagasy, you will say Timitin gas. So the T comes from what I said before, that is not. Methane is the verb here. And gas is Malagasy.
Okay.
This one is very fun to pronounce because it's literally not as it is written. I don't know is Tieku.
Tieku.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really different from, you don't say haiku or it's
Yeah.
Tieku.
Okay.
And if you are traveling to Madagascar, you will see these two sentences at the airport, which are Suavadia, which means have a nice trip, and Tongasu, which means welcome, bienvenue in French.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So, do you want to try pronouncing something?
Sure, let's go.
Well, would end up reading everything. So
Go with
maybe
the first one.
yeah.
Maybe this one. So.
Yeah. Okay. Forset.
Which one?
Oh, like I read like fork, but I guess it wasn't that.
Furuset.
Forset. Galika, do you want to try?
Okay, let's try the ones for high.
Oh,
Manawan.
Manaon.
Manaon.
Manaon. Yeah. So you Manaon. Do you want to try another one? Maybe from the second.
Yeah,
page?
sure. Yeah. Let's see. You know,
In maybe.
in
Vav.
in
Vava.
In Vovo.
in Vovo. Okay. Vovo. In Vovo. Okay. And yeah, let's try Salma.
Salam.
Someone, it's not Tsar, that's for sure. Someone, Tsar, ve Yano.
It's very close.
Yana.
Salamat Sarave, Yano.
Wow, okay. It's not as bad as I thought. Thanks. That's that.
Yes, okay. Numbers. I'm not going to explain every numbers, but what is important to remember about numbers, I think it's like in Russian. For example, if you want to say 11, if you want to say 11, you would say 1 and then adding 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like in Russian, exactly. So for example, let's take 3. So 3 is teru. And then you are adding 10, and 10 is full. So teru amne full. And then it's the same for other numbers. And what is also important is that for 20, 30, 40, etc., it's the same rule. So you just take 3 and then you multiply by 10. So for 40, 40 is a little bit different, but it's Efa, which is the small version of 4, and then 10, which is pool. 10 is full, but because of one grammar rule, it changed to pool. Yeah, because F changed to pool in Malagasy when it's another word. So yes, it's like that. Like Russian, you just add numbers like that. So it makes number very easy to remember.
Yeah. I was thinking it's the same like also in Bulgarian, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy.
Yeah.
So maybe I can try to pronounce them.
Yes,
sure.
please.
Yeah.
Rei, Ru, Telu, Efacha, Dim, En, Fito, Val, Siv, Full.
Okay,
I think
Okay.
full.
yes. So yes, maybe a little bit of explanation about the writing system. First, I would like to talk about verbs. They are really easy to use because there is no conjugation like in France. You don't need to change the termination of the verbs for each person or if it's singular or plural. So you just use one type of verb. And usually the verbs start with an M, so it's easy to recognize them. And here I put two examples. So to buy is mi vide, and to eat is min. Yes, so this is the verb. And when you want to change the tense, there is also one single rule with exception, obviously, but the main rule is that for present tense, you will use M as the first letter of the verb. For the past, you will use N, and for the future, you will use H. So this makes
That's so economic.
Yes, this makes
Amazing.
this make it very easy. So for example, do you want to try with to buy, for example?
Okay, so I bought would be nivide.
Nivid, yes.
Nivide. And I ate ninan.
Niinanga. Yes.
And
And for the future?
go ahead for the future.
Hivid. Hivid.
Nivid.
Ivid. Inam.
Exactly, it will be ihina. So that's really easy to use this grammar rule. And also for the sentence structure, it's really, I think it's easy to understand because most of the time in the capital, again, they will use the verb as the first word, and then they will add the complement, and then the subject usually comes at the end. But actually, if you use it the other way, like the English way, which is subject verb complement, they will understand you perfectly. You can use it. You can use this too. So here I put two examples. So I eat rice would be eat rice I. So mihin nga varzao. So here you have the verb that is mihin, var which means rice, and zao which means I. And so if you also say zaminambar, it will perfectly be fine and understandable. And the same comes with the second example, which is the tea is cold. So cold is mangateka, and the tea is dite. So mangatek ni dite.
Okay.
So to be cold is a verb. The whole thing is a verb. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. And other important thing is that maybe you noticed it before, but with numbers, for examples, they like combining words. Like they just add several words to create a new words, like the numbers. And here I put an example with zebur meat. So just to create the name of zebur meat, you just combine the two words together.
Nice.
So meat is enanga and zebu is aumbi. So just combine the two words together and you will have enaumbi.
It's a cousin of like Scout's cousin, like the Zebu.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
And also, maybe one rule that is difficult to understand is that there are some changing letters, like I mentioned before with the numbers. So, like in French, when the N changed to M in front of some consonants, there are some letters that, if they are placed next to another letter, they will automatically change. So it works here with the F that becomes P in front of the vowels, between two vowels here.
Yeah, I see.
Yes. And yeah, this one, I don't know if I will explain it, but they like to add a lot of prefix or suffix to change the meaning of words. So this is something you need to learn by heart. I didn't learn it yet completely, but yes, in the language, they will use a lot of small prefix or suffix to change the meaning of something. So for example, here I just put a very easy example, which is tu is ru. So if you want to say twice, you would say indru. So yeah, this is something that is important to learn, but a little bit difficult, I think, for some people to understand in the language.
Okay.
So there is a full list of prefix and suffix to learn if you want to go into Malagasy.
Yeah. So that would be the the tricky part, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think too.
We do have this in Slavic languages a bit, when I tell you some very complex word, like you just have to know what the prefixes are and you see where it comes from.
Yeah.
There are a lot of similarities with Slavic language, I think, here. The next one is the song. I don't know how you want me to present this, but maybe. So I opened. Okay. Maybe I will just turn off. Okay, so here are the lyrics of the song. Okay, it's loading.
Okay.
Okay, so I just turn off the. Okay.
So as a side note, like, do you know where the kind of like the flag scholars come from, or it's just like
no,
a similar?
I think there is a meaning.
Yeah.
I think the white will be rice, I think. And then I think the red is about blood, like one shared legacy into the blood. And I think green will be for, I don't
nature,
know. Maybe nature, yes.
That
And
sounds a lot like another flag.
Yeah, we also have these three colors in our flag.
Yes,
and the meaning is very similar.
Yeah, I guess they're probably similar among countries.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are the lyrics. Ano teraka antiranana. This one means ano is you. Teraka means born. And Antiranana is a region. So the sentence means you are born in Antiranana.
Okay.
Okay, and then Nazanaku Tuamasina. Zanaka means children. Tuamasina is again a region, a city. So that means even if you are a child from this region, Tuamasina. Namboka Manjanga Ano. This one means even if you come from Majanga.
Okay.
Avi Fianarantsu Ano. This one means you come from Fianarantsu.
Different names of regions, right?
Yes, exactly.
Small ones, maybe, like, or not, or maybe the logic is that they're more like central regions or something, but the person is like not forgetting his origins.
Exactly. This is a song about this, exactly. You already discovered my surprise. So here, as the lyric says, Miss Vulnga Tia Kambara now. Miss, as we saw before, it means that there is something. Vulnga, it means that a talk, something, a discussion. So there is something I want to tell you. Tia Kambara, ça veut dire, je parle en français aussi.
C'est pas grave, on comprend, mais. Ça marche.
Sorry, I'm switching languages in my head.
Normal. Difficult.
So I was saying that Tia Kambara, that means I want to say. Yao Sam Zanaka Gasikara. That means each of us are children of Madagascar. So basically the lyrics, if I go back here, Maybe I can try to read the next, the chorus in Malagasy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here it's down here on the bottom left corner.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sing. I will try just to read it. Tsara fakatia sam Malagasy e fakatiava sam Malagasy. So, so this chorus means it's nice to like each other, to love each other, because each of us are Malagasy. And the next sentence is basically the same, like let's love each other because we are all from we are all Malagasy. And as you said, this song is really about the diaspora of Malagasy people, because there are a lot of people that leave the country to find new opportunities abroad. And as you will discover, if I can show it here, in the song later, she will explain things like, where is it? Okay, here. She says, Ngoma Tanya Vakuza, which means I'm missing the place I come from. And then she says, Taranaka Malagasy, which means that my nationality is Madagascar. My origins are from Madagascar. Here is the same. Oh, here is a very interesting sentence, because it means that each of us are looking for something else outside, like we are trying our best to find new opportunities. Fumbanul Mandea. Fumbanul Mande, that means like what people, Mande means to go. So like the goal of people that are going. Mitaji Anjara. Mitad Anjar means to like look for new opportunities, look for its own chances.
Okay.
And then, okay, here you have a French word.
Yeah.
Which is, I think you can guess here.
Yeah, like proud to be.
And the exact same spelling as well.
Yes, exactly. Like it's easy in Malagasy because there are a lot of words like that you can guess, even from words that are English, or I think there are words from Spanish also. Because like the north part of Malagasy at the beginning was discovered by Spanish and then Portuguese. So they kept some words also from Spanish.
All right.
I see.
Okay. Oh, this one is interesting because I think this song really shows the spirit of Malagasy. That's why I decided to pick up this. I didn't know this song before, but when I was looking for a song, I found it and I decided to show it because it really shows what people from Madagascar feels. Because yes, like I don't know where is the sentence, but here she says, no, where is it? There is somewhere where she says that it's not written in the paper, but it's in my head. Here. Oh, I don't know how to underline this here. Which literally means it's in my head, not on my paper, but I'm from Madagascar. So,
all right, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. So this is a very important feeling, I think, that is shared between the diaspora.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't want to translate everything. I don't know if you want to see more about the song, but
Like
basically it's what the song talks about.
Yeah.
Could we hear a bit of it, maybe?
Actually,
yes.
Could be some copyright.
No.
No?
Sure, go.
Yeah, please, let's do.
Okay. Can you read it?
Yeah.
It's
yes.
interesting. It sounds a bit like bossa, or like really something that you'd find from like in like bossa nova, and like really
In
like
Brazil,
some rhythm, like
yes,
rhythmically speaking at
dancing.
least. Yeah,
I like it because it's very lively, very kind of, yeah, makes you feel happy.
yeah.
Yes. And yes, and I don't know if you noticed, but on some part, yes, like here, there is this O that's like of
Mm.
lyrical endings that I mentioned before.
Mm.
Like sometimes when people talk, they will like had this ending vowel just to put some enjoyment, like some exclamation in the sentence,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything special.
Okay.
Mm.
I think that was it. I talked a lot,
Great.
but
No, that
I
was
don't know
great.
if
Thank
you
you.
Thank you. We
Yes.
learned a
interesting
lot.
information.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have questions or anything you want to talk about.
Actually, we like I asked the questions I had in mind at first.
Yeah. I
So
just didn't you mention? I think we read something about a national sport. Do you know about that? Something linked to fighting, maybe? That's
I
popular
think
around the world.
no. I know that they're good at pétanque. I don't know the English word for pétanque,
Ah,
but
yeah.
really
Okay.
good
okay.
at
I don't
pétanque.
know either
Uh-huh.
actually. I think they use petanque as well, but yeah,
Uh-huh.
okay, that's okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like that's essentially it.
Mhm.
Like we
Yeah.
yeah.
Great. Thank you so
So
much
yeah, that was a
for.
great
Thank
presentation.
you.
Thank you for and
Yeah.
yeah, very very interesting. That not reading the ending of words. Like yeah, that's really quite. You can actually trick
Mhm.
someone who is not used to reading
Yeah.
Malagasy. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's if you can start with reading maybe
Yeah.
because it will make the learning easier.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Or like at least maybe in parallel.
Mm, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can understand it can be confusing. Yeah.
Mm,
Well, French is also not very phonetic. Bulgarian is completely, but not completely, but really quite phonetic. So this is not a problem.
yeah.
No.
It's fine. Like you can get
Yeah.
lost. Like the ending of words can be a bit different. Like you have to get the logic, and once you're good to go. It's Malagasy seems a bit more complex, but that's
Mhm.
great. Very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make you look bigger on my screen, so I will try something. Okay. Can I? No.
Maybe if you stop sharing, we would just be, I
Oh,
Yeah.
guess, on two parts of the screen.
Yeah.
yes. Thank you.
Yes, that's it.
Better.
Great.
Brilliant.
So we thank Adriana very much for this
Yeah. Thank you.
beautiful presentation. Yeah, lots of interesting information and some
Yeah.
basics of the language.
Yes. I
And
mean, if there are any of your audience that have questions or anything,
yes,
that
of course,
can,
yeah, everyone,
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
please do
Like
ask questions and
yeah.
we'll have a
Well.
look at them.
Mm,
Also, Adriana, you have a YouTube channel too, so we could
yes.
tell our audience to please
definitely.
Not
subscribe.
just
Definitely.
We'll put the
but
Definitely.
yeah, you can check if you want.
Mm,
sure.
sure.
We'll put the link in the description box.
Thank you.
And
Okay, so
yeah, that was great. Thank you. We've learned a lot, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And well,
À
yeah, well,
bientôt.
à bientôt.
so,
Yeah,
thank you. Have a good
thank
day.
you. Au
Bye
revoir.
bye.
Bye. Papa.
Au revoir.